Always going to do it more than once. A random glucose of 200 or greater with symptoms, polyuria, polydipsia, polyphagia. Okay, so those are things you're looking for as considered diagnostic. Why that's important is because that's when you need to start looking at, before they get to that point, when you see that syndrome X kind of thing, or the metabolic syndrome happening, meaning that the patient has impaired glucose tolerance, hypertension, dyslipidemia. Those are the things that you generally see before the patient develops diabetes, about 5 to 10 years. Those are the patients you want to target for prevention. So that's the person you want to lose weight, exercise more, those types of things. Okay. All right, so those are going to be important for you to do. I was just reading about something, I forgot what it was now. It's bad. I was reading in a magazine yesterday about there is some I have to send it to y'all just because I thought it was interesting. But there's a supplement that you can make that you can do tea. It's from the Caribbean somewhere, but it actually lowers your blood sugar. It's a natural way to lower your blood sugar. You can make tea out of it, or you can take a supplement. And so what they're talking about doing is a study to actually see whether or not it's something we can do for those patients who have impaired glucose tolerance, as opposed to using even insulin sensitizers, because it's dangerous as far, because the insulin sensitizers we have, a lot of them actually have issues with lactic acid, and this particular stuff doesn't. So I can't remember the name of it now. It's something I'd never heard of before. It started with a C, so I gotta look it up. So that's the thing I'm like, but you know that if it makes you, the other thing about it is if it lowers your blood sugar, that may actually end up being something that's cheap for people to take for losing weight, as opposed to, because that's one of the things that's gonna happen when you do that. So we'll see what happens if they actually end up doing a study on that. Think about what you do to manage your sick days when you have diabetes, because that's important. So that patient doesn't end up in diabetic ketoacidosis, or doesn't end up with HHNS. Those are things you worry about happening with your patient. You don't have to worry about those particular complications themselves, because we're going to talk about that more with MP4. But know that what do you do to manage a sick day? A type 1, you worry about going into DKA. A type 2, you worry about for HHNS. Because that's a little different syndrome. But you do need to figure out what happens to a patient if they're hypoglycemic, because that happens at every class level. All right? Also think about the whole thing about management of their disease, knowing that it's a lot of things that you have to look at: diet, exercise, medications, and ongoing monitoring. So they should know how to do their finger stick, but also when do you see the doctor, how often we need to see them, those types of things. And how we monitor their lab values. And pretty much you think about how you monitor how they're doing, you think about when they're supposed to see the doctor. Hemoglobin A1C is the key. All right? So when a person is a diabetic, we generally bring them in every 3 to 4 months. That's the routine that you want to see what's going on with them. But because the more frequent you're doing them until they can make sure they're under control, then you may be able to go to every 6 months. But in general, you see every person who has diabetes every 3 to 4 months. Then we have our thyroid issues, hypo and hyper. Hyper speeds everything up. Hypo slows everything down. So think about what you're going to see as far as symptoms in your patient. And then if we end up knowing that goiter can happen on both sides, whether it's hypo or hyper. Hyper people usually don't come to see you because they have weight loss, no periods, no hair on their legs, that kind of thing, because it happens more in women. It does happen in guys. And if you have a family that has a lot of autoimmune stuff, you'll see it all over the place. Not just when you, because we have a lot of autoimmune in our family. My grandmother was diabetes, and then my mom has arthritis, my sister has arthritis, her daughter had lupus. I have thyroid disease, my brother has thyroid disease, but he was hyper. Okay, so he was jumping around like, if you remember on Living Color, the guy who delivered stuff, the UPS guy, that was my brother when he had hyperthyroid. He was jumping around all the time. He'd walk in the house, take his shoes off because he was hot all the time. Because he'd come in the house and get stuff out of the refrigerator and put his feet on them. I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you? You can't do that. So he's like, I just need something cold out of the freezer to put on my feet, because he was hot. That was his thing. And he lost about 40 pounds. So he was looking kind of crackish. That's what I told him. Gee, what are you smoking? Kind of thing. Which I knew he couldn't smoke because he worked for Tico, so he ran a drug test, so I know you're not doing that. But that's what you look like. His clothes hanging off, he looked hard. And I told him, you gotta do something. Go to the doctor or whatever. And he ended up, he had hypothyroidism. So most of the time, and he thought he was like working out. So that's what he thought. I'm like, really? I know you work out all the time because he's not fat. But he was, but he lost a lot of weight. He said it was like the P90X. That's what he was saying. I'm doing this now. And that's why I'm losing the weight. I said, nah, you look sick. Something's wrong. And so he actually does have some degree of X-dot balance. Not quite Kermit the Froggy, but you can see it because he looks different from how he looked before. And he goes on and off his medications because that's the thing about it. You can put a person into hypothyroidism by taking medications, but then he'll have to go back on because it starts speeding up again. And you usually can tell because he starts losing weight and he starts looking crackish all over again. But he looked pretty bad there for a while. So I was talking about him pretty bad until we went to see somebody. So hyperthyroid, everything speeds up. Hypo, everything slows down. So that person will actually need supplementation. But just like I said, goiter can happen on both sides because either I have too much vascularity when you're talking about hyperthyroidism, and when it's too low, your thyroid says, maybe if I increase the size, I will get more hormones. So you can have goiter on either side. If the person ends up having surgery to take the thyroid out, remember that parathyroid sit on top. You got to be alert to signs and symptoms of hypocalcemia because calcium level can be low associated with that. That's when you see some laryngeal stridor. You can also see positives, you know, the rest you got. And then Trousseau's sign where the arm curls up when you put a blood pressure cuff on. Okay, so you have to give that person calcium gluconate IV. You may have to give them. And then they'll actually end up on calcium supplementation for the rest of their life. That's the thing that doctors are real careful about, especially if you're younger. You need it for anybody, but especially for young people, because you have to eat Tums for the rest of your life, or either Caltrate or something like that to deal with that, because it can be a problem that extends beyond just having surgery to remove the thyroid itself. So then we had the adrenals. So that was when we had Addison's and Cushing's. For Addison's is too low, I need to add hormone. Cushing's I have a lot, so I have a cushion of hormone. That's how you can remember them. Okay? So think about the signs and symptoms you see in the patient that has those. Remember, you look marvelous for Addison's. You know, that's the anesthetic because Ricardo Montalban, you know, is out there tanning with his little tan thing, or that little tanning crazy lady in New Jersey. All right? Because one of the things you see is hyperpigmentation in those patients. So you can have tanning in your palms of your hand and the soles of your feet when you talk about Addison's patients. But any type of stressor can kill them. So remember, their body's not producing it, so I have to give them steroids in order to be able to just function normally, but I have to give them extra if I do anything that causes stress to their body. That's what you got to think about. Anything that's going to cause them stress is going to be even more problematic for this person. So you have to let them know that. And they have to take medication for that. For our Cushing's patient, if it's, remember Cushing's disease itself is rare. The syndrome is what we see most often. And the syndrome is generally caused because we give therapy to patients with steroids to treat other conditions. Okay. Cushing's disease in and of itself, which means usually there's a tumor or something like that going on, is rare. Most of what we see is Cushing's syndrome, which is associated with increased use of steroids. And that's usually because you're going to be using those to treat something that the patient has. So that's the Crohn's patients, arthritis, whatever it is I'm using. Asthma, you know, I'm giving this person high-dose steroids, keeping them on it for a protracted time. That's the issue. Because most of the time you think about a Medrol dose pack, that's not what I'm talking about. You know, that's somebody who's going to take medication for 5 days. You're talking about somebody who's doing it over weeks of time. Your adrenals they go on vacation, so remember, you have to taper them down and discontinue. If you always think about that Medrol dose pack, you'll know that you always have to do that with steroids. Because if you know you take 6 pills during that first day, and you take 5 the next day, you know, because that's one of the things to kind of remember. You see it, just that short term, it's going to help you feel a lot better depending on what you have. But that's one of the things they look at when you talk about it. Because even when you have, which is more, you hate to use it on this, but it actually does work because it usually makes them worse, especially if you put it on the lesions. It's doing it with shingles. When you got a person who has that pain, that burnt, really bad pain, you put them on the dose pack because it helps. But you never put steroids on shingles. Cream, it'll make them get bigger. So you'll have super, it'll just look that way. But you can have a little small lesion this morning, and if you put steroids on it, it'll be big by the afternoon. It's disgusting. But that's also one of those things you can do to differentiate what it is when you have lesions. It's like crazy. So that's the endocrine stuff. And then with neuro, we have the things that we did today. And then, of course, we had stroke that we covered last week, which is a big one. Okay, so there's, gave you pictures about what happens, or make sure you look at that, what happens in the right and the left side, because the kind of things you have to monitor the patient for are a little bit different. You know, so one is more spatial, meaning how they see things. One is going to have more verbal problems, that kind of stuff, because you may not get that the patient has a right-sided stroke. You may get the symptoms that are associated with it, and you have to figure out which side is mostly affected in that patient. Think about what we do for that acute care of the patient who has a stroke. Think about what you do for the chronic piece, and that's the rehab part. You want to get the rehab piece or discharge planning on a stroke patient starts from your time of admission till you get them out of there. So you're always thinking about how I'm going to get this person back to doing what they were doing before. So PT and OT consultations are going to happen. But your acute thing is always think airway first, because it's airway, breathing, circulation thing. If you think it's a thrombic stroke, you want to get the medication or the thrombolytic to dissolve the stroke within the first 4 hours after presentation of symptoms. Your book will say it's approved for up to 6, but what they really, most people want to get in your first hour. So when you hear people talk about that trauma thing, about being the golden hour, anything that's acute, they want treated within an hour. That's the universal kind of thing, because the better outcomes are going to happen if I do things early. So CT scan is going to tell me whether this person had a stroke. Depending on the type of stroke you have, you may not visualize it as well the first day. Sometimes it actually takes the second day after the fact. But if you have a person who presents with symptoms and you do a CT scan, you're going, I see nothing on the patient. This person didn't have a stroke. But you see symptoms there, facial droop, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes it's because you caught it really early and it can't be visualized. And sometimes you can't really, they'll have to do another one to actually do the diagnosis for the patient. So there's no, it's not for everybody, but sometimes that does happen for the patients. Doctors look at it and the totality of what's happening. They look and see what they think is going on. They also look at what is the likelihood of causing a problem. If you got a person who has atrial fibrillation, I'm thinking thrombic stroke, right? If I have a person that all of a sudden complains of the worst headache ever, who has high blood pressure, I'm thinking hemorrhagic. Because you always think about what happens with your patients or what kind of leads you there. Doctors, do that whole assessment on the patient, but there's always something that's going to give them a clue about what's happening with the patient. If they're septic patient has a stroke, I'm thinking that's thrombus, because it's usually bacterial. You know, those are things that can actually break off, and there are antibodies, that kind of stuff that are happening. Those are usually thrombic things. But if I got a person who tells me I have the worst headache ever and all of a sudden it's out, more than likely that's aneurysm. So that's a hemorrhagic stroke. So kind of think about those. You might get something in the question that kind of talks about those kind of things happening with the patient. The stroke is big in that neurologic piece. We talk about TIAs, those precede the person having a stroke, anywhere from a year to 18 months before you see a person actually have a stroke. And then I'm not going to ask you about trigeminal neuralgia. We did have several different types of headaches there. We had tension, migraine, and cluster. Yes, headaches happen. You don't really put people in the hospital for that anymore. I visited the ER a couple of times for a headache, but they don't ever really put you stay in the hospital anymore, unless it's intractable vomiting or something kind of that goes along with it. And that's usually with migraines. And you saw that lady who had a complicated migraine that looked like she was having a stroke. Remember the lady that you watched on the video? That she was up there talking, and all of a sudden she starts talking gibberish. So complicated migraine is a little bit different, but those are the only people that usually stay in the hospital anymore. Because generally now what we do is try to do abortive medications, or keep people on drugs that prevent them from having headaches in the first place. So that's the goal of what you're doing with that. But to see them as hospitalized patients, no. What they're going to ask you about is what you see most often in practice in real life. Stroke is one of those things. And that's the big one. And all of the other things are there, but no stroke. I said it like how many times? So make sure you know that, because that's going to be a big piece of what you see there. Diabetes is the big endocrine thing. Although the other ones happen, diabetes is one that happens most often when you see it in patients, so no diabetes. All right, any other questions? All right, so tomorrow your test is already, your quiz 4 is already set up in Evolve. And then I will be checking it tomorrow evening sometime. And then I will let Ms. Palmberg know that y'all want to do AVO for the last semester out here. So I will make sure we end up getting a room, because they have to put in stuff for rooms and all that early. So I'll make sure we end up doing that. All right. No, because they asked me this morning about the MP4 class. Probably in the next couple of weeks, Ms. Vodder's going to come over and talk to you about your MP3 class. Because I know they do have some stuff y'all have to do for orientation. So that may actually end up being a couple of days that first week that y'all have planned. So I'll actually remind her to come see you guys to make sure y'all can, that way you can schedule yourself accordingly for that.
And that class is going to be here as well?
Yeah, it'll be here, yeah.
I think she said the previous group of them.
So thank you guys for coming a little bit early for me today. I appreciate it.
The 3 p.m.
4 a.m. 3 p.m.